This is Andi Purewal for Boxing News. I'm joined by an excited Frank Smith here in Leeds. Frank, how you doing?
I've got my own microphone.
Yeah.
Buzzing, mate. But you need to get it branded.
It's one for Rob Tebbert.
Rob, you need to get the microphone branded.
Hopefully he watches that and we'll get onto that
Just
one, Frank.
send that snippet to him.
All right, we'll do. Frank, here we are, Taylor-Catterall too. Before we come on to all of the good stuff from last week and what's ahead, massive rivalry, potentially coming to a fore on Saturday night. What goes down? What is different about this fight than what we saw previously?
I think they both know they need to go in there and deliver. You know, it's been a long time coming, this fight. It's been a long, long time coming. And Josh Taylor, as he said up there, will want to, in many ways, prove people wrong. And Jack Catterall will want to go in there and avenge that result where he should have become undisputed champion of the world. There's a lot of spite, there's a lot of fire between the two of them, and I think they just want to get it done now. They want to get in the ring. It's been, you know, even with the latest delay of an extra month, you can't imagine how frustrating that would be for the pair of them as well, because how long have we been speaking about this fight? But great fight, great all-British, you know, great domestic fight, the kind of fights we need to see. Can have a packed-out arena in Leeds on Saturday night, and yeah, I'm excited for it.
We saw a couple of fiery announcement press conferences. This one today was a bit more tame, if you will, a lot more relaxed, a lot more controlled. Tomorrow we've got the weigh-in, but on Saturday night, do we see a fight fought on emotion?
Possibly, yeah, possibly, because like I say, in that first fight, I don't think there was the same fire between the two of them. I think they can also, they've both said that they can improve as well, both of them on that first fight, and they're going to bring better performances. You know, I think it's different for both of them. I think for Josh Taylor, when you look at what he's done in the sport, if he was to lose on Saturday night, I think it's a hard one for him to come back from. But I think Jack Catterall's in a different position because he's still chasing things. You know, he wants to become a world champion. He wants those opportunities. But I think they're not looking beyond what happens on Saturday night.
Do you think it's possible, Frank, if Jack was to reverse the result of the first fight, we could potentially see a trilogy?
Depends what kind of fight it is. You know, if it's a fight people want to see, then I'm sure we'll see it again. You know, but I think right now the focus is just on Saturday night and Jack really avenging where he feels he should have got the win last time.
Just looking at the card as well, some great fights, but which one for you in particular are you most looking forward to?
Yeah, great fights throughout the card. I'm excited for Gary Cully, you know, because a lot of people judged him on that performance against Reece Mould. You know, it was different from the Gary Cully we've seen of old. I think he got a lot of demons off his chest there. You know, it was a hard night for him. He'd obviously lost in that same ring in Dublin, been in that same change room. That, you know, there was a lot he had to get through that night against Reece Mould. I think you're going to see the best of him again on Saturday night. But amazing fights throughout. I think Chev Clark as well. Excited to see Chev back out. Am I allowed to say multiple fights? You said one fight. I'm just going to go through them all anyway. So Chev Clark, he's got a tough fight against Oleksandr Usyk. You know, Ellis back out after the back of that Jar Pataya fight. But I think, you know, it was a tough. We've seen what Jar Pataya does in the sport. And I think this is going to be a great fight, but Chev's going to look beyond this to go into big fights, especially big domestic fights as well down the line. Paddy Donovan, Lewis Ritson's a brilliant fight as well. Giorgio One-Bang Visioli, that's his new nickname. That's what I'm calling him now. And George Lidide and Leli as well. So great night of action, young fighters on the card, and big fights for a number of people on there that are going to, you know, that are going to sort of define their path over the rest of the year.
Frank, you mentioned Chev Clark and Oleksandr, a cross-promotional fight. Obviously, Ellis, a Queensberry and Frank Warren fighter, but you also had another fight that they announced yesterday, I believe it was. Shabazz Masoud crosses onto their turf to fight Liam Davies. Liam Davies has been on a terrific run. Talk to me about that fight. How difficult of a task ahead is it for Shabazz Masoud?
Very tough test, but I think with Shabazz, you know, you're going to see the best of Shabazz going in there against someone. He knows how good Liam Davies is. You know, I think it was a frustrating fight for him. You know, when his debut, he headlined the Next Gen show recently. It had obviously been delayed as well. But I think you're going to see the best of Shabazz Masoud. He knows what he's going into. He knows what kind of fight it is. But he's ready. He's ready to go in there, and good to be working with Queensberry on it as well. You know, making good fights. That's the key. That's what we want to do. As you said, working here with Oleksandr and Queensberry to make this happen. That's what it's all about.
I have to ask, Frank, obviously it's great to see these cross-promotional fights taking place as well outside of Saudi Arabia, but do you think if it wasn't for the involvement, the intervention of those out in Saudi, yourselves and Queensberry would be aligned the way you are at this moment in time?
Probably not, in all honesty. You know, we had made fights historically together, but no, I'm not going to sit here and say the relationship would have been the same. It wouldn't. You know, the relationship's definitely changed, which is positive for British boxing.
where the boxer fit into all of this?
Look, it's frustrating for us because we get asked questions about it, but we have never pulled a fighter out of a purse bid. We've had multiple fighters fight on boxer shows, so it's not a case of not wanting to work with people. If fights make sense for the fighters, if opportunities make sense, then we'll always be there. But there's not that same. The relationship's in a great place with Queensberry. You don't necessarily have to get on though and love each other to make or to do business. Look, I've had a very public. People know my thoughts on Ben, but it doesn't take away from the fact of trying to make fights. If a fight's there, it makes sense, we'll do it. But there's been multiple times where we've tried to do it and it hasn't happened. It is what it is. But we're not going to let that affect our day-to-day business and what we're doing and delivering for our fighters.
Frank, moving away from that, one more fight, which was announced yesterday again. Joyce, Taylor-Catterall. I've asked you, I've asked Frank in the past, I've asked Eddie in the past, is it the right time for Derek to retire? Should he be retiring now? Should more be done to kind of help him move away from the sport? He's got another fight, a big fight, a tough fight. Your thoughts on it?
I love Derek-Chisora. He's a good friend of mine. Actually, away from the sport of boxing, he's become a good friend over the years, and I think it's a fight he can win against Joyce. It's a tough fight. Heavyweight boxing is tough. I've personally said to Derek in the past, what are you doing it for at this point? He's had the big nights. He's fought for titles. He's been in sold-out stadiums. He's done amazing things in his career. But he's still got something he's chasing. And the only person that can decide when enough's enough is him at the end of the day. Like I say, I think he's a fight he can win. And I'm Team Derek-Chisora all day. So like I say, a good friend of mine.
Frank, taking back to last week, Tyson Fury, Oleksandr Usyk. Oleksandr Usyk coming out on top on what was an unbelievable heavyweight clash there. What did you make of it?
Spectacular night. And respect to both of those guys, because they delivered so much entertainment and exactly what an undisputed fight should be, Oh, hello, mate. How are you? Right? Well, good. Did you find that ring?
No.
Want me to sort it out?
How do you mean sort it out? Because I think the only thing you'd be able to do is get onto the IBF and ask for another one.
Yeah, I'll buy you one. We were talking about Usyk Fury. Yeah, spectacular fight. And exactly what the fight should have been. Actually, can I just pick this up? Can we pause it for 2 seconds?
Yeah, Frank, just pick that back up there. Business called. Tyson Fury, Oleksandr Usyk, an unbelievable fight. Just your reflections on the event that unfolded.
Spectacular night. And look, we waited 25 years for that moment to see the undisputed heavyweight championship of the world again. And it delivered, as it should have done for a fight of that magnitude. And respect to both of those guys, because it's been a long time coming. And many people had questioned whether it would ever happen. Amazing job, obviously, from His Excellency, Dr. Akan, the Seller team, the GEA, to put it together, and just a great fight, a great night, and the kind of thing we need for the sport of boxing. When you got all those people tuning in for a fight of that magnitude, it delivered. Certain people thought, would it be a chess match? What kind of fight would it be? But that was the kind of fight that had everyone on the edge of their seats the whole way through. Tyson Fury, I thought, I will keep saying after 7 rounds, which I thought was probably 5-2 up, and then the fight completely changed. Oleksandr Usyk did what he did, and what has got him to where he is. Why he was undisputed cruiserweight champion, why now undisputed at heavyweight, 300 or 200 odd amateur fights. He's a special fighter, and he just showed why he's there, because he finds a way. Many people say it could have been stopped in the 9th, could have been dealt with differently in the 9th, but at the end of the day, the referee made a decision, and at the same time, Tyson Fury got through it, as he's done on so many occasions. So a great fight. I thought Usyk deserved to win. I thought it was close in parts, but I thought Usyk deserved the win, and I thought that was the right man won on the night. But very much looking forward to the rematch.
As you mentioned there, looking forward to the rematch. We know that they've spoken about it taking place in October, and he's also mentioned you never know if maybe Taylor-Catterall Sheikh will say he wants to see Fury-Joshua instead. But given how dramatic last weekend was, how gripping of a heavyweight fight it was, do you think, unless there's kind of an injury which can put paid to one of the men not competing next, it puts paid to any chance of a Fury-Joshua fight?
Yeah, look, I think it's the contractual position that was always set, 2 fights. I think, don't get me wrong, people would love to see the Joshua fight as well. I still think, regardless of results, Joshua against Fury is the biggest fight in boxing. regardless of world titles, whatever it is. That's my view. And I think it does huge numbers. But look, we're in a great time for boxing. Big fights are being made month after month. You know, we've got one this weekend. We had the Undisputed last weekend. Got the 5v5 next weekend. Boxing's in a great place, and long may it continue. So whatever decision is made next, I'm sure is going to be for the good of the sport, and we're going to see a great night.
Final one before we wrap this up. Deontay Wilder, Zhang next weekend. What's your thoughts on it?
Big win from our captain, Deontay Wilder. But look, I love Zhang as well, got a good relationship with him, but I think Deontay Wilder's got to go in there. He knows he needs to prove a point. You know, he knows he needs to deliver to get back into those big names, those big discussions in the heavyweight division. There's still big fights to be made for him, but the pressure's on him. And I'm excited for that one. Excited for the 5v5. Hopefully we go and get the win so I don't have to dress up as a maid and make tea at the Queensberry office.
Is that actually going to go down?
It's true. But by the way, I've got lovely legs, so you'll see if it does happen, you'll be pleased.
Cheers, Frank. Thank
Thanks,
you.
mate.